When I finished off last time, I said I was going to tweak the IF transformers just to see if I could get a bit of an improvement. And this IF alignment procedure has a few interesting differences to the usual, which I thought might be a good idea to report. Now, as I mentioned, these IF transformers are different in that they've got a coupling screw in there. That brass screw is a coupling adapter. You adjust the amount of coupling between the primary and the secondary coils. And then you've got the usual, primary and secondary, those two red ones. The slots on the right are not populated because that would be the FM coils, and we don't have FM here. So, what they suggest you do is they suggest you feed a signal into the grid of the the mixer tube. Where is that? Over there. You send your IF frequency into that with a modulated audio on it, and then you adjust the coils measuring the output level. So you measure across the speaker. What I've done is I've got my usual dummy load on there, and I've got the scope across the dummy load, so we don't have too much noise in here. But what they also suggest you do is that you feed the AGC circuit a negative 4.5 volts DC. And the reason for that is you're basically setting the AGC voltage at minus 4.5, which should be higher than any level you would achieve by feeding a signal into the input. The idea there is that you can adjust the coils without the AGC kicking in and spoiling your results. So what I've got here is I've got 4 volts coming out of there. It's not on, but it's ready to be on. 4 volts, I'm not putting 4.5. These guys come out here. Now, because I want to feed in minus 4.5, I connect the positive to the chassis, which I've done here, and the negative then goes to the AGC connection point. And the easiest AGC connection point for me right now is actually the Magic Eye grid, which is connected directly to the AGC point on the schematic. The other thing that these radios have, which can fool you originally when you're not used to them, is they've got an extra tube socket in there, and it's not populated. And the reason it's not populated is that it's not a tube socket. It's actually a socket for you to connect a test jig, and this they would connect in there, and there you have your AGC voltage available as well as a few other measuring points, but the main one would be the AGC voltage. On FM receivers you've got more information on there, but I could connect it in there. I know that it happens to be pin 5, but it's just easier for me to connect my negative 4.5 volts over here. So don't forget, this is minus 4.5. You got the positive to the chassis, and your ground then goes to that AGC voltage point. So I'm ready for that. The other thing I've got now is the signal generator is ready to feed the original signal, and I know it's 460 kilohertz because I tested it. I guessed that it would be approximately right, so I put a signal in started at 450, and I went up and I saw what my highest peak was. It happened to be at 460, 461. So I guess, and I'm sure I'm right, that the actual IF frequency is 460 kilohertz. So I've got it ready at 460 kilohertz. It's connected to the grid of the ECH81 mixer tube. I've got the negative bias to the AGC voltage ready. I have my scope connected to the dummy load, and I'm ready to feed in a signal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to feed the signal in before I put on the AGC voltage. And because the signal level is actually quite low, it shouldn't be lower than minus 4 volts. It should be minus 1, minus 2. So the minus 4 is going to be higher negatively than any voltage that the AGC would produce. And this just means that the AGC won't work. It'll stay fixed. Now the Sabas all use this technique. I've used it before on the Freiburg W3 and also on the Freiburg 8 and the Meersburgs. So it's not really a surprise, but that's the way it's done. The other thing I suggest you do is you have to unscrew the decoupling screw uncritical. So you unscrew counterclockwise that brass screw on there till you've basically made this as widely coupled as possible. You couple it uncritically, as they call it. You then adjust the two for maximum, the primary and the secondary for maximum output level, and then you peak the level again by critically coupling the coils with that brass screw again. And there's just a little trick in the end, and I'll speak about that when I get to it. So I think we're ready to start. I'm going to place this on the scope so we can see the level that we're getting out, and we'll see how we go. Obviously I'm doing the IF for AM, and they do suggest you put it on medium wave. They don't suggest, they tell you to put it on medium wave. So it's on medium wave. The volume is as high as I want the scope beam to be. So I think we're ready to start. Let's set this up. So I've unscrewed the decoupling screw. Well, it actually goes a bit lower. It's about as low as it gets. Now I'm going to tweak the two transformers, the two coils, till I get a peak. There's a peak. It's very, very sensitive. Now the other one. That seems to be about it. Now I've got to critically couple the two by screwing in that screw. I'm going to reduce the amplitude of my signal. Let's reduce that a bit. I'm just looking for a peak. I reduce the volume level there. Now I get no more. That's going down. Now what they suggest you do is you reduce, once you've peaked it, you decouple it till you drop about 5% of your signal. That's just to widen the bandwidth a bit. So I'm at 840, so I need to drop about 40. Very, very sensitive there. That's about it. That one's done. Okay? Put the cap back on. Uncap the other one. And with this one, you do exactly the same thing, except you don't drop that 5% at the end. So I'm decoupling it. Give it a bit more signal. Now I can tune the coils. Seems to be it. Change the scale a bit. Whoa. Seems that when you push it in, push it in, I think you're actually coupling it by bending it. So I'll try and put as little pressure as possible. There we go. And now we just adjust the coupling to max. Let me drop the signal level. That's about it. There we go. And that's it, we've done. And with the fiddling that I did before, I'm not sure whether this improved a lot or not, but we certainly have these coils, I believe, properly adjusted. And here we have it, the radio's done. It's in the cabinet. The cabinet restoration was not done, but it's just been cleaned up. Knobs have been cleaned up. There's actually a faceplate for this knob missing over there, which we can do nothing about, but hey, one can always try on eBay, and it's pretty good. Pretty good. And better yet is the way it works. I think I'll get medium wave out of the way first. There's not much here. I'm using the ferrite antenna because the external antenna, which you achieve by clicking it all the way across, hardly picks up anything with on medium wave. So the ferrite antenna you have to rotate when you find a station to get a stronger signal. So let's see how we do. You find something and then you rotate it to see if you can improve on it. There's something there. There's a Spanish station. Seems that's the best position. Pretty clear. Let's try shortwave 1. Now I've got the external antenna on. We're at 26 megahertz. Something very faint over there, 22.
Para el que también se piden 4 años de prisión, se sentarán en el banquillo otras 39 personas por los sobresueldos que se simplemente concedieron a altos cargos de la entidad en plena crisis económica. Barcelona.
Presidente de Cataluña, Caixa Serra, así como para el exdirector de la entidad, Adolf Tudor,
That's
por
very,
los
very strong
delitos
over there.
de administración desleal que les atribuye, y a otros 15 miembros del Consejo de Administración. Voilà, Christophe Chevaux, responsable du pôle.
There's another one. Let's try shortwave 2. So we're going up from about 5 megahertz. That's the 49 meter band. One meters.
And defaced the caves and the paintings. Are you looking into adding more security to the caves?
Yeah.
meters.
También se habla del futuro de grupo. Volvemos a Bruselas. Volvemos a saludar a Antonio Delgado. ¿Cómo estás?
It's 25 meters.
Et puis aussi faire coach de l'équipe de France de tennis. Alors, coach linguistique de l'équipe de France de tennis. Par semaine discuter et leur redonner le goût de...
Athleta FC en maillot blanc et le club Les Amis du Monde en bleu ont livré un...
And now if we try shortwave 3, going down from 5 megahertz, that's 61 meters. Something very faint over there. These are very faint this time of the day. Medium wave. This is with the external antenna. We don't pick up anything there. Put the antenna, the internal one in, and you got something. Here's an example. This is the internal antenna, the ferrite antenna, and if I put it to the external one, it's gone. So for medium wave, you definitely need to use the internal. And And there we have it. That's the reception.